Hey guys, welcome back to While You Were Cleaning. Today I have 6 different Christmas tree themed DIY decor projects using all products from Dollar Tree. So some of these are using Christmas trees that you can find there at Dollar Tree. Others are using items that you can purchase at Dollar Tree in order to make something in a Christmas tree shape. And all of them, I think, are pretty simple to put together. Hopefully there's something that you could easily recreate if you would like to. I hope you all enjoy the ideas that I share in today's video. Also, at the end of this video, I will link some more of my Christmas tree DIYs that I've done in the past. I have kind of a whole series on them. So if you like these ideas, you'll probably like some of those videos as well. So at the end of this video, just go ahead and click on one of those and check out my other Christmas tree DIY videos as well. All right, let's go ahead. We'll get into today's DIYs, and I can't wait to start creating. First off, today I'm going to make a Christmas tree ornament. So I took 2 of these blocks from the Tumbling Tower game that you can pick up there at Dollar Tree, and I just used some hot glue to glue the 2 of them together. You could also glue more together if you wanted to make a larger tree, and you can see here in a little bit how the whole tree comes together and how it'd be easy to make it larger if you would like. And then I'm going to use some of this darker color yarn that I also found at Dollar Tree. If you've seen some of my recent videos, I've been using their green yarn a lot for some different DIYs, and they have so many different colors to choose from. So just pick whatever you can find there in the store. I wrapped the yarn several times around this about 2-inch piece of cardstock, and then I took a piece of it and tied it at the top so it's almost like a pom-pom. If you watch my videos, normally I make all sorts of different types of pom-poms. So then once I had that put together, and you can see how it kind of flares out here almost like Christmas tree branches, I just went ahead and I hot glued that first one down onto my wood pieces. Then I made 2 more of those almost pom-poms, and I just glued each of them on top of the one below it. So you can see here how the branches made out of yarn overlap as they go down this tree ornament. Next, I went back through and I just trimmed off my yarn just to make sure there weren't any extra long pieces sticking out. You could leave those as well because, of course, Christmas trees aren't perfect, or any tree for that matter. So if you want to leave some longer ones sticking out, you could do that as well. Next, I'll use one of these wooden stars. They have these out with the Christmas items this year, and I'm just going to add this to the top of my tree. So I just add a little bit of hot glue right there at the top. It's glued a little bit more onto the wood piece than it is the pom-pom. And then I took a piece of twine and I tied a knot at the end of it, added some glue, and then I'm just going to add this right to the back there so that you can use it to hang this ornament. Here is how that ornament turned out. I also think that this would be great to make a garland out of. Next, I'm going to make some clay Christmas trees. So I'm actually doing a salt dough recipe here. So it's a cup of flour, half a cup of salt, and then half a cup of water. And you're just going to mix that all together until a dough forms. I've done a few DIYs with dough before, and I do have a whole video on it, so I'll link that up above for you and then also down in the description box. But you get a pretty good amount out of just using the recipe that I used in today's video. I was able to make several different shapes out of the dough that I had for this. You'll want to roll it out about 1/4 of an inch thick. The thinner you get it, the faster and easier it will dry. And then I just cut the edges so that they were straight, and then just used a sharp knife to cut some tall triangle shapes out of my dough. Next, I transferred my shapes over onto some parchment paper and I put them in the oven for about 2 hours at 250, and I just cook them on each side, just flip them over. And then this one has sat for a few days already, so it is completely dried out. And I'm just going to glue it to the top of this little wood stump. And I got the stump in a package from there at Dollar Tree. I just had some left over from maybe last year or something. So I just used some hot glue and attached it to the top, just like a little tree. And I just took a little sharp knife and just removed that hot glue that oozed out the front there so that it's not showing. And here's how that little tree turned out. You could also make these in larger sizes as well. They may just need a little bit longer to dry. You can also take a Phillips head screwdriver and press it into the dough before you bake it, and it'll make little star shapes. Next, we're going to make some easy fabric Christmas trees using a fleece scarf from Dollar Tree. I just picked up this burgundy colored one. And then what I'm gonna do is I cut it into a triangle shape. I'm not sure what's happening with the video here and why it's skipping around a little bit, but I think you can see just fine what I'm doing. Just cut it into a large triangle, and then what I'm gonna do is just use some hot glue to glue down the edges. Now, I didn't really worry about gluing it and then insiding it out so it had flat edges. I didn't mind the way that the edges were here, but you could glue down the edges and then turn it inside out if you wanted the edges of your tree to be a little bit different. I took some extra pieces that I cut off of that scarf and I just stuffed those right into my tree. And then I added one of these 12-inch dowel pieces down the center of my tree and then hot glued the bottom of the tree close. Next, I took a small wood stump type piece, again from one of those packs from Dollar Tree. You could just get one from your backyard as well. And I drilled a hole in the center that was the same size as the dowel piece. You could also hot glue that dowel in place if you need to. And then I made two different sizes here. One's a little bit shorter and I used one of the 6-inch dowel pieces for that one. And you can just see how the two of them pair up really well together. For my next project, I thought I had one of those little triangle-shaped houses on hand, but I did not after looking for it several times. And so I'm going to use some of these wood planks and I'm just going to make my own. So these come in a 6-pack. They are all rectangle shapes. I just added some hot glue to the ends of one of them and then to the top of the other so that you can see it's glued together at all of the different seams. And then I used the sharp knife again to cut out any of the extra glue that was along the ends there, anything that might have oozed out and made it not look like it had clean edges. Next, I'm going to use one of these white bulb ornaments and then also some buffalo check, white and black buffalo check ribbon. So with my ribbon, I tied it into a very simple bow shape. And then I cut off another length of ribbon from my spool, long enough so that I could tie it through the top of my bulb and then tie it in a knot there. And then I hot glued my bow right on the front of that ribbon so you can see how it's hanging down from the bulb. Then I added a little bit of glue to the top where the knot was, and then I just glued that right into the top peak of my house. And here's how that little decor piece turned out. I really love this one. Of course, you can use any ribbon color or design that goes with your decor this year. You could also paint out this wooden box if you wanted to make it green and look a little bit more like a tree. Next, I have a really fun little project that my kids are very envious of because they really wanted this little dinosaur toy. I am going to take this dinosaur and I'm going to spray paint him with this Rust-Oleum metallic gold color. This is my favorite gold spray paint. And it was snowing outside that day. You could kind of see the snowflakes coming down. So it was very cold. I just spray painted it super fast and then brought the whole box inside to dry. And here you can see what that looks like, being all coated in just one coat of that gold spray paint. And then I'm going with a gold theme here. So I'm going to use one of these gold glittery trees that I found there at Dollar Tree. And then also some of this mini bell garland with the gold bells on it. So the kind of nice thing about this bell garland is, at least the one that I got, it has 3 different sections that are twisted together. So that's nice if you don't want to use all of it. So I just wrapped some of it around my dinosaur several times, and then you can see here, there's that little spot where it's twisted together. And then I wrapped some around my tree, and I just used 2 of the 3 sections of that garland. So, and it's really nice that it has the wire, because you can just adjust it as you go and just make it as circly around your tree as you want. This was such a fun little project, and I really love the way that it turned out here and how it just looks like the dinosaur is just all tangled up while trying to decorate his tree. For my last project today, I'll be using the smallest hoop that you can get in that 3-pack of ring wreaths that you can find there at Dollar Tree. So I got the smallest one, and then I also have a piece of foam board that I've already cut off from the large piece, because it's so much easier to not have to show you a giant piece of foam board. But I already trimmed it down, and then I was trying to decide here where exactly I wanted it to be inside of the ring, and then I could trim off the excess there that I didn't need along the sides, and then I thinned it out a little bit so it's only about 1 inch wide for this piece. A knife is a really easy way to cut this foam board, because you can just cut the one side and then it's easy to fold it back and cut away the rest of it, and it doesn't crinkle up the foam board as much. I'm going to cover this foam piece with some of this wrapping paper that I got in the teacher section of my Dollar Tree. It has this nice wood grain look to it. And so I'm going to just cut off a piece that's large enough so that I can fold the paper around every side of the foam piece. And I just use some hot glue to glue the paper down onto the foam piece. I glued each end down first, and then I folded up the sides of the paper, and I folded in the corners so that the ends of the foam board looked nice and neat there. And then I just finished hot gluing down all of those flaps to the foam board. And then you can see here how it fits inside of my ring. And then on the ends here, I'm gonna cut a little slit with my scissors, because I want this board to fit down onto the ring a little bit so that it doesn't have to have as much glue to hold it in place, and that it will just stay in place on the ring. So once I had those little slits cut through the end of the board, I went ahead and added some hot glue in there and then pressed it down in place. Next, I'll be using a package of these little Christmas trees. They come 6 in a pack, and they are a few different heights in this pack too. I wasn't sure what to expect, but then when I opened it up, I think it's 4 different heights that are inside of this package. I just made sure that they were all at least somewhat evenly spaced across the board that I put on there, and then just used a little dot of hot glue to hold them in place. Here you can see how that last project turned out. I really love this one. It's very simple looking and almost a little bit of a Scandinavian type decor piece. And you can see how it hangs on the wall as well. Even with that board there, it doesn't really stick out too far from the wall. I really hope that you all have enjoyed today's Dollar Tree DIYs. I really enjoyed making them and sharing them with you. Again, go ahead and click through to one of my other Dollar Tree Christmas tree DIY videos if you're interested in seeing more like today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye!